I will tell you about interesting DIY projects for winter fishing, so you always have a good catch, so you always get bites. And most importantly, all the DIY projects should be hidden, so that other fishermen don't know where they are and how you hide them. Friends, it will be an interesting video. There will be fish, there will be tricks. Watch until the end, leave comments and subscribe to the channel. Let's go, friends. Enjoy watching. And the first thing I want to tell you about is, of course, the ice fishing tip-up. How to make it, how to equip it properly, and how to fish with it. I will explain everything to you in detail now. Ice fishing with a tip-up is great because no one knows where you place them and how long they have been there. To set up a tip-up, you need a hole and a bait. First of all, of course, we unpack it. Tip-ups can be set at absolutely any depth. No one will know about them except you. Measure the depth when the sinker touches the bottom. Lift it up a little and insert it into the cut we made on the pipe. The line holds very well in the cut, which is why I mentioned using a thick diameter, so we can easily thread everything through here. Now simply thread the bait fish here and lower it all under the ice to work. For such fishing, I use either crucian carp or roach as a bait fish. Both types live very well, and for a long time. As a rule, I thread the bait fish under the dorsal fin. Now lower it into the hole, set our entire depth and attach the tip-ups there. This way, thread it here, the stick, and place it over the hole. And here it will be under the ice. This part will be under the ice. It never freezes over and is always in a suspended state. In working condition, all that remains is a small stick above the hole. So the tip-up is not noticeable at all. Who knows what's in that hole? Perhaps it's also an under-ice tip-up. As you have already understood, the under-ice tip-up is a very clever tackle. Let me tell you how to make it. The tip-up itself is made very simply. For this, we need any PVC pipe of such a diameter, a larger diameter. This is already a plastic pipe of such a diameter, and color any size that we like. Let me show you, for example, with this small pipe. The length of the pipe in my case is about 20 centimeters. You can make it short or you can make it longer as you like. So initially we take a piece of pipe about 20 centimeters long. PVC pipe is very soft and easily subjected to any mechanical impact. After cutting the piece we have to make two slits about 3 to 4 centimeters long on one side and straight on the other side. There is a marking on this tube, so it will be simple. We make the slits quite carefully and evenly. Here's what we have. This is where our fishing line will be fixed. Here we have the slits, and on the opposite side, we just need to make two holes. Step back a few centimeters and just make a hole with a knife. On one side, and opposite it, on the other side, exactly the same way. Of course, we clean up all the burrs we left here with a knife. And then it's very simple. We take and wind the fishing line. I usually wind at least 10 meters. For making tip-ups, I use the simplest tackle with a line diameter of a hook of size 4 or 6, whichever you prefer, a swivel, which can also be smaller or larger, and definitely good, fluorocarbon. I also have the diameter and sinker, an olive weight of 3 or 4 grams. I secure the line through these two holes and tie it with a good knot. When we cut off all the excess parts, we leave a few millimeters. So that when tension is applied, the line doesn't just come apart. And that's it, as I said, just evenly. Now, we wind it. We wound the line and guide the free end into our slot, into the cut. Next comes the main part, which is the leader, hook, and swivel. The leader is fluorocarbon, as I mentioned, about 20 centimeters long. That's what I have. The main part is the same for me. Leaders made of fluorocarbon. And treble hooks, I tie the swivels the same way, both on a stationary tip-up and an ice fishing rig. There is absolutely no difference here. Initially on the free royal, we thread the weight. My weight, as I mentioned, is 3-4 grams. I never use a very heavy one. It's important here that the weight is sliding. From the free royal that we have, we tie our swivel here. For all connections, I always use the clinch knot, but on thick line many turns. You can't make, so 3 or 4 turns will be, as a rule, I consider always sufficient. Such a knot has never come undone on my tip-up. I thread it through and tighten it. Well, that's it. Now we fold up the tackle, and I secure it all with a rubber band so it doesn't unravel. Just an ordinary office rubber band, doubled over. Hop, it holds everything perfectly. Here at the top, where we have the double hole, we make the attachment. On the large traps, I made it with thick wire, a good one, so it can withstand the ice. And here we do exactly the same. After all, this part, which is at the bottom, is under the ice. There, it's always above freezing. Nothing freezes over, but here on top, it can freeze well, and the ice can be strong enough. So the wire in this trap must be good. So we twist it here, leave as much length as we need, and make the same kind of loop. On the other hand, you can now make under ice traps in the same way and go fishing for pike, so that no one knows about it. Fishing with traps is something we always love. But if you fish at depth or in a current, setting up a trap without a sinker is quite problematic. Anyone who has often fished with traps knows what I'm talking about. The sinker in the current takes a very long time to lower, and setting up the trap correctly just doesn't work. To avoid such mishaps and adventures, I always use a depth gauge. With it, fishing is quite quick, comfortable, and you don't waste your precious morning time. But the main advantage is that you not only set up the traps faster, but you also set them up correctly. That is, you raise the bait to the distance you need. 1, 2, flag. The depth gauge itself is made in a few minutes, but the time you spend making it is incomparable to the hours, and struggles spent measuring depth. In my opinion, such a depth gauge for the traps. The easiest way is to make it from a 2 to 3 ounce sensory weight and a regular bell. We don't need the bell itself. In this case, we need the clip. We use the bells in the summer for other life hacks, so we set them aside. The places where the bells are attached, we can snip them off as we don't need them. A small piece of wire is also needed, about 20 centimeters. That will be enough for us. We thread the wire through the sinker. There's already a hole here. And we thread it through this hole to that clip. Voila! We bend it, this whole thing. We end up with something like this. I measure it so that the clip is at the top and the sinker is at the bottom. And we just twist the lower part together tightly. And we bite off the excess. Well, of course, we won't leave anything sticking out. We carefully bend all of this. Guys, there's an important nuance here. How do you attach it? The depth gauge. Some attach it to the hook, but some manage to attach it higher. Right here, to the swivel itself, like this from above. Both methods, of course, will work, but depending on whether you place the depth gauge by the weight, or at the end of the leader, the number of turns will change when you lift the bait. I recommend placing the depth gauge by the hook itself downwards and raising the tip up by 1-2 turns. Exactly 1 to 2 turns will lift your bait off the bottom. If you measured with the depth gauge about 20 centimeters, well, that's how it is, and just take it, otherwise I'll hold it. Very often you ask me, Sergey, how to store bait so that it lasts a long time, guys. Of course, for this there is a special container. There are lots of barrels, as I say, at home in the cellaret, above 0 temperature. But if you fish quite often on the river, it's best to store it in a bottle. And right in the river, hidden from everyone, now I'll tell you how to make such a trap, for storing bait and what its advantages are. As you understood, we need a bottle. This bottle should be 5 liter. 10 liters can be 2-3 liters. Depending on how many bait fish you have, a piece of wire, and some kind of stick. We start by taking any knife and making small holes in the bottle with the knife, just by piercing. There should be many of them, but our bait fish should not fall out. I think anyone can puncture a bottle. They really riddled the bottle with such large, big holes. On top, where the cap is, underneath it, where the neck is. We tightly tie a piece of wire, mitata, or a good rope if you don't have wire. And of course we clamp it tightly so that nothing falls off here. Now we take the stick that we prepared, and at the end of the stick, we tie it. Now we take our device, take the ice pick, and head somewhere with fewer people so no one sees you. Where you will leave your stash. If you are using a 2-3 liter bottle and the bait is small, your bottle might fit through a regular hole. But I have a large bottle, so I need to make more holes with the ice pick. And be sure to watch out so that no one sees you, because there have been multiple instances when the bait was simply stolen. People would come to this edge under the ice, take it away, and stole it. We have such fishermen here. Yes, it will take a little time. We've broken it up well, the bottle fits in there. We submerge the bottle, and in doing so, it fills with water. Once it fills with water, it will start to sink. Guys, while the water is filling up, I want to tell you about the advantage. Look, here, you will always have a consistent temperature for storing bait. You will have clean running water here. That is, we made many holes, and the water will constantly change and rinse through. It won't stagnate in the bottle. You will come to fish with the bait you could store at home. Yes, in your water, which becomes smelly and stagnant in the warmth. Somewhere, some people simply have nowhere to store it. So just take it ready and fresh. It will always be fresh and alive here. And it can live here for months until the ice melts, so to speak. If your bait is very large and doesn't fit through the bottleneck, you can make a cut here, like this, and insert it from the side. Put the bait in there, it swims. Lower it down, screw the cap on, water fills up, and we sink the bottle. Check to make sure the rope is well tied and lower it down. That's it, it sank. And place the stick on the brake. You can very well cover it all with snow to conceal it, especially if fresh snow falls. No one will know except you that something is set up here. It's very upsetting to lose a favorite jig. It's expensive and catches well. Not to mention the balancers, our favorites, which we fish with. The second season, when we fish, we constantly think that the fish are near branches and snags. That's correct, because they hide there. But very often, friends, we can end up losing our favorite balancer or jig there, whether it's reeds, an old net, some kind of screen, a bottle, anything. To avoid leaving your favorite tackle at the bottom of the river, there's something called a dislodger. Now I'll tell you how to make one. To make a dislodger, we need several nuts. Depending on your fishing conditions, fishing line 0.16, 0.18, 0.16, 0.18, and a clasp. I use a clasp from spinning. A small clasp like this is perfect for our purposes. Guys, it's very simple. If we're using on a dislodger to free up balancers, you need a heavier nut, a bigger weight. If it's for jigs, then of course smaller and more delicate. It all depends on what got snagged. I will use a fishing line and a small nut, like this. All you need to do is thread a piece of wire through the nut, like this, and attach the clasp on top. Twist it all together. Again, twist everything tightly so that nothing comes undone on its own. All we need to do now is tie the fishing line with the free end to the wire or directly to the nut. Let's imagine that our jig is snagged on the bottom. There's something in the river, a branch, right? The jig is stuck deep and can't come off. What do? This is where a disgorger comes to the rescue. We take the disgorger and attach it to the line at the very top. It slides down under its own weight. We pull it tight, it slides down and simply knocks the jig off, like this. By jerking the line up and down, tightening and loosening it. With a sharp jerk, just like that, the jig simply flies off. So, as you understood, the disgorger is simple to make. But it saves expensive jigs and balancers. Friends, the next DIY project will be from Sergey Ivanovich. He made a large capacity bait feeder from an ordinary tin can. Those who watch my videos have seen this. That's it. The process is quite simple and takes just a few minutes to make.
Yes, look at this. The lip on the feeder for us. The cans are good. can code, you leave it.
Close it.
Then like this. Oops. Screwed it up. Need to put another one.
Well, for whitefish, we'll show it later when we go.
Then just like that. There you go. Add a weight here, I'll pass. Yes, that's a lot. Yes, a lot. What are you doing? The excess? Not ashamed? There you go.
Cool.
Just once to the bottom.
It's also done very simply. Any tin can, with or without a lid, I will use it with a lid. The lid will just open. The bottom part for us. And off we go. Take a knife and make a hole. Right here on the edge. First of all, also make a small hole right here on the side. The next hole will be right here. Now we connect the lid and the can through our two holes. This is where it will be filled and closed. Our feeder. You know, our feeder is almost ready. We just need to make one more hole here on the side. Poke through, then insert a piece of wire and make a loop here. That's it. The feeder is almost ready. Now, using a thicker and stronger wire, we make a clip like this. For the feeder, we also use thick fishing line. All done. The feeder is ready. It works on the same principle as other feeders. Open it, pour in the feed, insert the fork and pull it here. The fork is here in the lid, like this. And insert it into this slot. Done. Lower it slowly to the bottom, lower it, pull it to the bottom. The lid opens and the feed falls out. Also a small upgrade, you can attach a nut here, screw in a wire so the feeder goes correctly. And when we open it, it will spill out faster. Guys, if you liked everything, give it a like, leave a comment under this video, and subscribe to my channel. I wish you all good luck. May you always have a bite, tight lines, no scales,